Thank you all for coming. I'm going to talk about the feature film, The BBQ, that was shot on the Varicam 35 and the LT. It's an Australian feature film shot early in the year in January. The BBQ is a BBQ 3 production. It cost around about $3 million to make. Principal photography, as I said, was in January to February 2017. It was a 5-week shoot. The director was Stephen Amis, Melbourne director, Melbourne DoP, David Richardson. I was the camera operator on it, B camera. Its expected release is in December of 2017 and it will be distributed by Label. Here's some photos from the shoot. David Richardson on the top left there, Stephen Amis on the Panther dolly, the slate and the Varicam 35 doing a car rig shot. Now, the primary camera package was the Panasonic Varicam 35, which was our camera A, and we were shooting in DCI 4096 by 2160 in 24p because it's for a cinema release. We used the internal AVC Intra 4K 444 codec with the Vlog, and we found doing testings that it was quite good and held up to, a cinema sort of projection. A couple of years ago, Don McAlpine shot with the Varicam 35. He used the same codec. Theo van der Sande also shot Bad Santa 2 on the same camera, on the same codec. So we thought if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for us. Camera B was my Panasonic Varicam LT, also shooting DCI 4K. 4096 by 2160, 24p, but the Varicam LT maxes out at AVC Intra 422 with Vlog. Both cameras share the same sensor, so matching cameras wasn't a problem. We also had the Panasonic GH4, and then the GH5 came out when we were doing pickups, and we used the GH5 for some car tracking shots and other things. And the GH4 we used prior to the shoot to film at some barbecue festivals. Some of you might know the GH4 and GH5 shoot a pretty decent codec at 100 megabits and now 150 megabits. Here's the two cameras side by side. Now, most of the time we used both cameras stacked. So one was shooting the wide 2-shot, and then maybe the second might be shooting a close-up. So it helped us move along very quickly by shooting two cameras, TV style basically. As you can see, the two menus from both cameras. This is the LT menu maxing out at 422, the 35 at 444. Both cameras match very well. We shot it anamorphic, but we also had spherical lenses, and we mixed the two without a problem. The actual anamorphic lenses were some vintage Cook XTL Express 2x anamorphics. Our aspect ratio that we were framing for was 240 to 1. We also had a 25 to 240 T 3.5 zoom lens, which Panavision up in Sydney modified for us. Camera B also used a combination of the above lenses. I also used some of my EF Canon L-series zooms on it. They're currently grading the film at the moment. That's the 35 camera prep in Panavision Melbourne. We found though with these lenses that to put a follow focus on them, we had to raise the camera up higher. Panavision have this riser that we put in to lift it up. Now, why choose the Varicams? There's so many cameras out there. Why the Varicams? Well, some of the reasons are the dual native ISO and dual native at 800 and 5000. It's basically like having two film stocks in the one camera. When I'm shooting outdoors or I've got plenty of light, happy to shoot at 800. But when I'm in a low light situation or I want to go with available light with maybe just a bit of fill of smaller LED lights, 5000 can be a big saviour. I've already mentioned that both cameras share the same sensor. Panasonic also has a distinct look. The Varicam LT is a great B camera. That's me on the top left-hand corner on the Panther dolly. We use the dolly a lot. Here's a scene where we used a lot of the available light, or the light that the DoP asked the art department to build into the set for him, which were these LED lights, the 7-watt LED scoops. And we just had a couple of LED panels here and there for kicks, for fill, and some strip lights. The DP liked to shoot just under 5,000, say 4,000 or 3,200. These cameras just allowed us to work very quickly. Here are the two stars of the show, Shane Jacobson and Magda Zabansky. Look out for it in December when it comes out. Okay, that's the end of my presentation, but before